Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Final Fantasy Challenge. Final Fantasy XII, picking up right where we left off. We were working our way out to the Osmoon Plain to advance the main story. I didn't want to advance the main story, though. I wanted to do a side quest, but I couldn't do the side quest because it was raining. Which is odd, so don't know what to do about that. We were trying to get everybody up to level 25. So that everybody's equal with Bosch. Let's get warmed up a little bit here. These dudes, we were fighting a lot of these guys. They're good to fight. Balthier is level 23 now. Got a quality hide. Nice. Try and keep the chain going here by not fighting those flying guys. Shit. All right. Ether. We need as many of those as we can get. I never feel okay spinning my ethers, you know? Nice. Where is Fran? There she is. Okay. Interesting. All right. Weak to lightning, okay. What's up, Goat Slayer? How you doing, buddy? It seems like that guy just ran away. Black chocobos. Not nearly as much of a fight as I thought they would be. Filling off, got done mowing my brother's grass not too long ago. Nice. We just got done walking the dog. And it put me in a bit of a rage. We walked all the way to the front of our complex, and then I realized I didn't bring the right keys to get through the gate so that I could go check the mail. So that pissed me off. I'm like, man, we were walking the dog, and Magni loves other dogs. He's a very social puppy. He's very social, and he's so innocent. He can't understand that other dogs could be in a bad mood. That doesn't make any sense to him. And so he just got attacked for the first time today by a Chihuahua. A Chihuahua didn't hurt him or anything. It was doing a bunch of those snarly warning bites that actually don't do any damage. Yeah, Magni's like, this is a weird place, but I'm down. Like, it's like, bud, he doesn't like you. Yeah. My God, is it hot out? Is it hot out, man? Arizona's already heating up. We're 323, 24. Yeah, I concur. I concur. It's just, it's cute, but worrisome to me at the same time. Give me a quick second here. These guys will be fine. Let them fight. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, Drake and Pone. Drake and Pone saw you in there playing that Northgard. What do you think? Kind of a cute little game. I like it. Oh. Sorry, we were out walking the dog and I got back and I forgot to wash my hands. Why are you guys not attacking? And is he... He's technically not under half health. Even though his bar very much looks like it's under half health. His actual hit points are not there. Yeah. 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 Some more loot over here. Prince's Kiss, huh? Guess I already had some of it. Dougie, how you doing? Life's great, bud. Life's good. How's everybody's weekend going? Yeah. Just went out for a nice walk? Yep, we did too. We just got back from walking the dog. Wanted to ask what kind of music do I like? All kinds. Like really anything that hits the ear. That killed her. I didn't intend for that to happen. Anything that hits the ear well, I usually like, but I usually listen to metal and classic rock. Those are my go-tos. Been listening to a lot of jazz while working lately. I don't really know jazz, I just like it. But yeah, like Viking metal at the moment. Yeah, a lot of Viking metal right now. But yeah, metal, tons of metal. I grew up on metal and hard rock and all that goodness. Really, all that for a potion? I don't want to fight those things. Really? I've heard a lot of different Viking fantasy music. I've never heard of them. Clam Avi de Profundus? I'm gonna toss their band name into a Google search. I'm back to it. Song of Durin's the first thing that popped up there. Cried out from the deep. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Paresis, Sabaton, and I forget the name of that other band I've been listening to a lot lately. Yeah, I'll have to try them out, though. That sounds exciting. Dragon Shore, Song of Durin. Beren and Loot. That's crazy to me that they are, like, flirting with cease and desist from the Tolkien estate. I am so surprised that they're able to name songs Luthien and Beren and Durin and stuff without getting themselves in trouble. Because the Tolkien estate loves to send cease and desist to everybody. That's crazy. This original sports suit, they have to have rights. They have to have rights. Because Tolkien's estate goes after the smallest, non-impacting people. There's a streamer here on Twitch. He used to go by the name The Happy Hobbit, and they sent him a cease and desist, and he had to change his name to The Happy Hob. What'd this do, huh? There's another adventure out there. Making them for a few years. Well, Chris Tolkien just passed away, I think, so maybe they're not so focused on sending shutdown letters anymore. Which would be good, man. Don't let people profit off of Tolkien's work, but at the same time, though, let people be influenced. Tolkien's that big now. Tolkien's, like, to me, like, he's Shakespeare level, you know? Like, you don't send cease and desist for somebody writing a heavy metal ballad about Romeo and Juliet, you know? That's what I'm saying. Like, modern day fantasy, the way that we understand fantasy, like, you gotta remember that, like, elves in, like, traditional fantasy are itty-bitty little creatures, also known to be synonymous with gremlins in old folklore. They were little itty-bitty creatures that would come in and fuck with shit and then disappear. And then Tolkien came along and he interpreted the Norse version of elves, which aren't little gremlins. What the Norse believed elves to be were essentially Vikings and Norse and people would, like, Scandinavian folks would bring plants in from the wilderness into their homes, and then they would die real quick. And they would learn, like, oh, like, they gotta be kind of, like, taken care of in some way. And then, like, they would try to take care of it and it would still die. And they're like, man, keeping a plant's fucking hard. It's hard to keep these fuckers alive. But then they would look at the entire forest and it's just exploding in success of plant. And they're like, something has to be out there taking care of all these plants. And so they thought of their version of elves, essentially. They're caretakers of the land. Well, Tolkien read about that and took that and turned it into his version of the elves, and that's where elves started being tall, pointed ears, elegant, being known for being dexterous, being woodland creatures, being light of heart, song in their soul, that whole thing. That's all Tolkien. That's all Tolkien. Before that, they were fucking Keebler elves, you know? And almost everything that he created is an influence from some folk work. But, interesting. But, I mean, he breathed new life into it on such a degree. Yeah, everything links back to him in one way or another. Yeah, I love my token. My ear has been hurting like all morning. It's like sensitive to the touch. I think because my hair has been growing out from this whole COVID nonsense. Why do you not attack? Sometimes you attack, sometimes you don't. But I keep pulling my hair back behind my ear because my hair on the side's gotten too long. And I think I've rubbed my ear raw. Alright. Oh, I had an ear infection? Ugh, that sucks. Ear infections are the worst. Let's take a look in a book. Learning license boards. Katana 1. Oh, it was a tooth infection that led to the ear. Ugh. No buenas. That rubbed off on me. The streamer I watch who came up with the word buenas. And I can't stop saying it. Let's do this. That's sick. Dwarves going after a dragon. That's token his butt. What is this? Sounds good, Goat Slayer. Hope to see you soon, man. We'll be on for a long time today, so if you're still hanging out, come on back. How would I rate FF12? So, when I played FF12 back when it came out, I had expectations. And those expectations ended up letting me down because the game wasn't anything like what I wanted it to be. Now that I come back years later to learn how to play this game with a more open mind, I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. There's a lot of, I'm going to say memes, because I don't think people are genuinely upset about it. I think they just like to make jokes about it more so. But there's a lot of, but there are some people who are legitimately mad about it, as is with everything. People will find in anything out there that exists. The fact that this Coke can is red, this pisses off somebody on the planet. There's a lot of similarities between Final Fantasy XII and Star Wars, particularly New Hope. That's fine to me. I think Star Wars is a great story, and using it as a source material to kind of bounce some ideas off, I think is great. I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But with that being said, I'm starting to actually find it kind of fun, as opposed to, oh man, they're ripping it off or anything like that. I'm actually kind of finding it to be entertaining. But yeah. Should be Pepsi drink, but piece of shit. But yeah, expectations can really screw up how a game goes for you, you know what I mean? It can really ruin a good time. Ooh, she can have crossbows? I didn't know time... Oh, they call it time battle mage in this. Got it. Grab some of the spells. We need to track down Reflect and Gravity. But yeah, so essentially, to kind of give an idea of why I didn't like Final Fantasy XII when it first came out, was because I was just getting into, not just, but I had recently, not even recently, I mean, like, there's been a gap of a few years there, but I wasn't a Final Fantasy fan in the early years of my gaming exploration. I was a Nintendo kid, so I grew up on, actually, I switched from being a Nintendo kid to a Sega kid for a while there. Anyways, I was a Mario Brothers, I was a Zelda 1 fan, I was a Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley kid, and then Sega and the Super Nintendo come out, and I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan during those times, and I'm just into all the heavy metal stuff, you know. And then I'm a PlayStation kid. Like, I was pretty much jumping all over the place. I didn't get into Final Fantasy until Final Fantasy VII came out, and like I kind of heard about it, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid. I have to stand over here and then wait to hit that guy, and then I was out, and I didn't get back into it until a friend of mine's like, no, you really got to try it. In particular, you need to sit down and play Final Fantasy IX. Sat down, played Final Fantasy IX cover to cover, and that was it. I was hooked on Final Fantasy games. And then I went back and played 7, beat it, played the shit out of 7 and 9 over and over and over that summer. 8, I tried so many times to play that game, and I just despised it. And to this day, I still do. So then it was super exciting for me to have Final Fantasy X come out. And I saved up my money to get a PlayStation 2, and I forgot to buy a memory card, so like I had to wait, because they're like, well, you can use your PlayStation 1 memory cards on the PlayStation 2. Well, yeah, for PlayStation 1 games, doesn't work on PlayStation 2 games. So, like, it's just all these great memories. So Final Fantasy X was this really important point in my life, just like jaw-dropping graphics. I was super into it. It was amazing. It was a huge part of my childhood. So then Final Fantasy XI comes out. And one of my buddies gets it. And I go over to his place to check it out because I couldn't get my mom to sign on for us jumping to broadband internet at the time. We ended up getting broadband internet pretty soon after that. But to get her to jump to broadband internet and allow me to pay a monthly subscription to play a video game wasn't happening. That was not something that I was going to get my mother to sign on for. So I wanted to go over and check it out at my friend's house and see what I thought of it. And I played it a little bit, and I just wasn't into it, to be real frank. It just wasn't an interesting game to me. And I didn't like how slow it was and how easy it was to die, and it was just kind of all over the place. And so I was like, all right, Final Fantasy XI's not my thing. That sucks, because I really enjoyed 10, and I'm just going to have to miss out on this next Final Fantasy entry. So, you know, licked my wounds, moved on, got over it. So they announced Final Fantasy 12, and I'm like, thank God, we're gonna get back to old school Final Fantasy games. Like, we're gonna get back to the way that it was, you know? And I'm so excited about this. Like, this is gonna be great. Yeah, it needs to be that way. Like, this is gonna be a blast, dude. Like, you know, I'm gonna have a Final Fantasy 12 is gonna play just like 10 did, and that's the game for me because they already gave the MMO to the other people. And then Final Fantasy 12 comes out, I pick it up, I play it. Original PlayStation 2 version. And it's an offloaded, it's an offline version of their MMO. And like, my characters don't have set classes. I had to, like, because in here, the license board, this is part of the Zodiac Age thing. That when you come in here, let me see if I can get the board up. Where's the board at? So this wheel, this doesn't exist in the original PlayStation 2 game. Where there's a Foe Breaker class, and a Time Battle Mage, and a Monk, and a Knight. None of these classes, there were no classes. What it was is everybody, this is a license board. Everybody, all of those classes have a license board. Each one of these classes has its own license board. All of those license boards were put together in one giant fucking checkerboard grid. And all of your characters in your party landed on that grid when the game started somewhere. Preset, not randomized, but they were somewhere on that grid, and then you just bought things. So there were no defined classes. Everybody was everything. And that's a lot of the complaints people had when this game got to in-game. There's no difference from Vaughn to Fran to Balthier. All the characters were exactly the same. You were all super knight ninja mages. Like, everybody was exactly the same thing. There was no difference. So Zodiac Age answers that question by splitting up the job board, putting them into classes, making people be distinct from one another. That was all good stuff. But it wasn't there when I first picked this up back when it first launched, you know? So I just saw this offloaded MMO where the characters weren't specialized in combat at all, so therefore, to me, they didn't feel any different. Maybe we can get this guy. And they keep flying away. Choice in games is already like characters who you like characters who are actually defined. I think avatar characters are a bit. You mean like create your own characters? Yeah, I think it depends on the game. I think, what was I doing? Equip. I think that Mass Effect isn't nearly as celebrated as it should be for what it did with create a character. Let's talk about like the most extremes, right? Like MMOs, you got to do create a character in those, right? And I think like Saints Row, I think, is a great game for create a character because Saints Row gets funnier because you have a goofy character looking and stuff like that. With that being said, though, yeah, I tend to agree. I think one of my most favorite explorations of a game is always going to be The Witcher. Somebody's at the door. And it's because The Witcher is a decided upon character, personality, and you're telling me a story, and you're telling me the story about how that guy is handling things, but there's a little bit of play in it. I can respond to the world within a sphere of what Geralt would have responded to the world with. It's very much my story, my experience, but Geralt is definitely a decided upon character. That has certain interests in... Your soundbar showed up? Oh my goodness. Oh. I am a little bit. I don't know why you're getting the upgraded soundbar. Well, we'll take a look. We'll see how we can... Well, we'll take a look. This one's still good. My wife spent her stimulus check on upgrading the entertainment center in the living room, and she's gonna steal my 60-inch TV.
You told me I didn't need the subwoofer, and I got it anyway.
I was like, you don't need a subwoofer. I was like, we don't really have a lot of space for it. She bought the subwoofer anyways. Just showed up. Anyways. Yeah, so I think, you know, Witcher gives you no choice to create your character, but tells a very good story. And that storytelling is really important. And I think Mass Effect hasn't been given, and I think, to another point, Dragon Age was another good example. Mass Effect allows you to create a character, but they put some confines and some restrictions on what kind of character you can be. You have to be a human. And you have to be from a military background. So, like, so long as you can get your head wrapped around those elements, the rest of your experience is your own. And it's definitely your own character. But what's fun is that because they have those hard-coded, specifications about what makes your shepherd, they can write to it. They can depend that that information's present in the game, and they can tell you a story about being a human and saving humans. And I think Dragon Age 1 was their best game, but the fact that they let you choose different races meant that they had to write for too many different dialogue choices. And really, what I want more than anything in that whole franchise, all those games from BioWare, is I want them to go back and remake the entire Dragon Age, reboot the entire Dragon Age series. You guys have been all over the fucking place with Dragon Age to a point where it doesn't make sense and it's not cohesive and it's not fun anymore. Like, I don't even want to go back and replay it, any of them, even the good ones, because it's so, I don't know, sloppy, to be honest. But I would go nuts for a reboot of the entire series. And what they do this time, though, is they make Dragon Age like they did Mass Effect. Dragon Age 1, you gotta play a human as the Warden, and, you know, everybody calls you the Warden, just like everybody calls you Shepard in Mass Effect, you know? And tell a new story. And it could be pretty much the same story, too. But don't let me choose, like, Elf and Dwarf and all that stuff, because it differentiates too much. And then import that character into Dragon Age 2, and then import it into Dragon Age 3 / Inquisition. But I agree with you, though. Fire Emblem, not a good character creator. Doesn't need it, either. Fire Emblem didn't need to have creatable characters. I don't know why that was a thing. Makes it harder to tell a story. Grab these guys over here. Yeah, I really like Fire Emblem too. A lot of love for the Fire Emblem series. Sorry, spaced out. Yeah, Fire Emblem's a great series, and I think some of their best games are the ones... Well, yeah, I mean, Path of Radiance, Three Houses is really good. But even when you can make your own character, Awakening, it's still really good, though. Yeah, I need to truly finish Three Houses. We beat Blue Lion House, and I think we're just before the time skip on Golden Deer. And then I need to do my Eagles. But, I need to actually finish playing through that whole thing. We've got so many games that came out. Oh, she's over here trying to get her mana back. Hold on, we gotta give her a minute. You good? 91's good enough? Well, I don't think they're planning on remaking any of those. I'd like it. I'd like a remake, but I don't think they should change anything like adding in create a character. But I mean, if they do though, I would prefer that they make your character that you created of like non-importance. He's not part of the story, he's just an innocent bystander. Not innocent bystander, but he's a bystanding fighter or something. Yeah, I think a remake would make bank, but I think they're definitely making more money on Three Houses right now. What's this? That's interesting. Avatar not add anything to the story, so it's just pointless. I don't think that's true, because Final Fantasy Tactics proves that. The characters that you recruit in Final Fantasy Tactics that are not the main story characters, and then you pour time and effort into developing them into these different classes and stuff like that. There's a story that you create, and a passion and a love for that character that you create through the time that you spend on it, but none of those B-list, you know, characters that you can rename and recruit from the different cities, they don't have anything. I mean, like, they're completely non-existent storyline wise. But I have a love for some of those characters. Like, I'll always remember that I had a black mage in the original Final Fantasy Tactics on PlayStation 1, and I was recruiting people, and then I recruit this guy, and the name that was auto-populated was Grim. G-R-I-M. And I was like, that's so cool. No, it wasn't. It was G-R-Y-M. Grim, or Grime, maybe, but I just called him Grim, and I'm like, that's such a badass fucking name. And he ended up being, like, my black mage who went Summoner, and then he learned the Zodiac spell, and so he's the only one who knew Zodiac. And it's just like, yeah, it is like getting attached to your Pokemon. And so, like, he was just this badass dude. So then when Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions got released on PSP, I went, found a dude with similar stats, leveled him up as a black mage, and then I turned him into a Dark Knight, and I made sure that he got renamed as Grim. And so, like, I don't know, like, Grim's kind of this, like, homie that has been with me, and I've always had fun with, and I kind of see that too. But again, though, that's if they were to decide to do something like that. I don't think it's necessary, though. They don't need to do. They don't need to. There's no, like, lack in video games of, like I don't think anybody's crying out like, I can't create enough of my own characters. This, like, I don't know where that's coming from. Is he still? We gotta wait. Right. I don't like plot revolving around a blank character. No, I agree with that. That's pointless. Do I need to... She can heal herself, you know. Golden needle. Alright, we're all good in that sense. So, let me do this. Why would it go down so much? Actually... It hits for, like, a shit ton of damage. So how is the game consider... Her bow does not hit that hard. So how does the game consider her to have more attack power on the bow? It probably does more DPS, because it fires faster. $447, that's a shit ton of damage. I wonder if there's a success rate for a charge, like if there's some kind of math that I can figure out and then manipulate. Trails in the Sky? No. I didn't play too much PSP stuff. Well, I actually played a good amount of PSP stuff, but... been a significant drop in how much PSP games I play because it's a little hard to stream. Oh, it's on Steam now? I think I've seen it popped up a couple times. God, this rifle's hitting hard, man. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's go back north to the Giza Plains. I want to see if that rain stopped, because I want to do that hunt right now instead of advancing the main story. Best JRPG series? That's saying something. You know, and I haven't thought about this for a while. Yeah, this is looking good. Let's do... $39. Whirl. Yeah, what's up? 1 second, guys. Have fun making it. I don't know. We'll take a look at this bar. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna fit out there in the living room. Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't know if.
The inline specs on
Yeah, it's the inline specs on the rotary girder with the feedback loop out there in the living room. I don't know if it's gonna work. We're gonna have a quantum deacceleration because of it. So. Yeah, it's not compatible with the firmware. So.
Wi-Fi.
I need to download more RAM for it. I think she bought it, chat. They didn't sexualize a young girl. Good job, Japan. I adore Japan, and they definitely have some cultural differences from here in the States. But that is one that has always worried me. Makes it hard to enjoy Final Fantasy VI depending on which version you play. If you play like the original translation Final Fantasy III, American Final Fantasy III, right? Edgar is pretty pedo. And then if you play the GBA remake of it, they kind of fix him a little bit. By him, instead of saying, "Oh, young girl, you're so gorgeous and pretty, and I'm into you, we should have some alone time." Instead of him saying that, he says, "Call me when you're 18." And I'm like, oh, that makes it a little bit better, but not by much. Like, what? What? Oh, Jesus. I just don't need all those gambits on him. You know what I mean? I just don't need it. I just don't need it. Oh, I can like... Oh, big brain shit, dude. Carcata. Yeah, we need to save for that. Alright, cool. Definitely more degen. I love that word. Degen. So, now that we're here, let's see if we go north a couple more maps. Something just fucking happened. I feel like that guy walking around just added to give you a feel of MMO-ness. That, like, there's other players leveling up. It's still fucking raining, bruh. Bacchus's wine, it said. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good amount of love out there, but it is definitely unsung, though. Video game music as a whole. I will say, though, Final Fantasy VII Remake soundtrack is easily I definitely like Doom and Doom Eternal soundtrack more, because Mick Gordon is a god, and I love metal. But if I had to say, aside from that, what is the best soundtrack ever? It's Final Fantasy VII Remake soundtrack. Holy shit, is that soundtrack. Each song is fucking amazing. I don't think it's timeless, though. I'll say that, because a lot of it's, like, techno remix and, like, dub and house and all that kind of stuff, but, it's incredible. Good hit. Damn, he's level 27 now? Shit, dog, shit. I think I have to advance the story to get the rain to stop, which is a real shitty. I don't like that. Oh, neck pops. Okay, so let's pop into this item shop here. Alright, we got a little bit of everything. We can sell our loot here, so... Now, there is a crafting system in this game, and people were telling me, don't sell this and that, because you're gonna want it for crafting later. The reality is, that makes me far too poor of a person. And from what I can tell, everything in the game is refarmable as far as loot goes. You can refarm everything. With that being the case, I am selling everything, and I will just use the speed up mechanic and farm everything later. But I want money now. In particular, I want to flush out the Gambit system and really give it a good go. And that costs a ton of money, which is probably one of my biggest complaints about this game, is if you're going to give me a system that allows me to pseudo make an AI, basically do your programming for you. Oof. I'm gonna Google on that one. Acquired from tons of different monsters. And it's only used for a bazaar item, so selling it is exactly what its job is. Well, that was worth. Yes, please. Game definitely wants me to get her back into her bow and all that. She'd lose a point of mana. She would go up 4 points of mana. Let me do a little bit of searching on this too. FF12 bow versus guns. Oh, okay. Okay, I've learned some information there. Apparently, bows have a weather debuff. Depending on the weather, bows are harder to hit with. Which is interesting. That's an interesting little thing to put in the game. It's a very MMO element. But then I guess I kind of get their point. Like, if it's raining, an arrow is going to have its trajectory affected a little bit. Especially if it's raining hard. While a bullet being fired from a gun is really not going to give too much of a shit about the rain. That does make a little bit of sense. That's a little bit, but we talk about how it's a video game a lot. Stop trying to make it super realistic. That's getting into the realm of, like, you're getting a little too realistic. Okay. Ooh, I haven't learned it yet. But I want one. Okay. Are you telling me? Telling me that this is the better blade. It increases my evade. Oh, okay, so It isn't just going for whatever is best. I see. That changes things. Okay, babe, 1 second. Sell just one of these. I don't think I'm gonna sell weapons that I no longer need, but I will sell duplicates of a weapon. We don't need 3 wizard staffs, you know? Armor, we might need more than 1. Everything else. Ammo, we only need 1 of each. Okay, I gotta help the wife with something. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, if you're the feathers that they use to fletch an arrow, they get pinned down, your trajectory gets all fucked up. Gotta help the wife with something real quick here. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll go ahead and pull out here. Enjoy the scene and the music, and we'll be right back.